In 2015, a group of researchers pooled $1 billion to build AI that would, by their own admission, threaten human civilization. 10 years later, that project is valued at $300 billion and controls technology used by 500 million people every week. This is the story of how a nonprofit safety lab became the most powerful company in tech history and almost destroyed itself before it got there. Investors that any value created above that ceiling belonged to humanity, not shareholders. In February 2019, OpenAI released GPT-2 in stages, claiming the model was too dangerous for a full public release because it could generate convincing disinformation at scale. The staged rollout generated global headlines and positioned OpenAI as the responsible adult in an irresponsible industry. Critics called it a marketing stunt. The full model was released 9 months later with minimal incident. Whether calculated or genuine, the move established OpenAI as the organization the world watched whenever AI did something alarming. In 2021, Microsoft quietly deepened its bet, and by January 2023 it had committed a total of $13 billion to OpenAI, taking roughly 49% of the Capped-Profit entity's equity and exclusive rights to embed OpenAI models across Azure, Office, and Bing. Microsoft's market cap rose by $80 billion in a single day when the deal terms leaked. What Microsoft had actually purchased, though, was not a product or a patent. It was a licensing arrangement that could evaporate if the nonprofit board decided the mission was being compromised. On November 30, 2022, OpenAI launched ChatGPT as a free research preview, expecting modest traffic. It reached 1 million users in 5 days and 100 million users in 2 months, the fastest consumer product adoption in recorded history at that point. Google declared an internal code red and fast-tracked its own AI products. Entire industries began restructuring around a tool OpenAI had released without a monetization plan. The pressure to turn that user base into revenue would set up the most chaotic week in the company's history. On the morning of Friday, November 17, 2023, Sam Altman received a Google Meet invitation. 4 of OpenAI's 6 board members joined the call: Helen Toner, Tasha McCauley, Ilya Sutskever, and Adam D'Angelo, and informed Altman he was terminated, effective immediately, for being not consistently candid with the board. The call lasted approximately 15 minutes. Within the hour, President Greg Brockman was also removed from the board, though he initially kept his operating role. Neither Microsoft nor OpenAI's investors had been told it was coming. Over the following 72 hours, OpenAI dissolved into open rebellion. Interim CEO Mira Murati was replaced within 48 hours by Emmett Shear, a co-founder of Twitch, as the board scrambled for stability. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella announced Altman and Brockman would join Microsoft to lead a new AI research division, a move that threatened to drain OpenAI of its entire reason for existing. Then came the letter, More than 700 of OpenAI's roughly 770 employees signed an open letter threatening to resign and follow Altman to Microsoft unless the board reversed the firing. Ilya Sutskever, OpenAI's chief scientist and the board member whose vote had made the firing possible, publicly posted that he regretted participating in the board's action. His reversal was the structural crack that ended the board's resistance, because without Sutskever, the board could not claim it had acted in the interest of the technical mission. Negotiations ran through the weekend, and in the early hours of November 21st, Sam Altman was reinstated as CEO. The 4 board members who had fired him were gone within days. The board never released a formal explanation of what Altman had concealed, and Altman denied any wrongdoing. Subsequent reporting suggested the concerns centered on Altman moving too fast on commercial deals, allegedly not disclosing a side investment in a chip venture, and a research paper by board member Helen Toner that Altman had criticized without telling the board. For a company managing $13 billion in Microsoft capital and 500 million users, the triggering events, whatever they were, remain officially unresolved, which raised an obvious question about who actually ran OpenAI.